Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Building the Outdoor Enclosure. I've dug out more grass. Remember everybody, always do everything with your knees and as minimal with your back and body. So, just to show here, I always use my weight for busting out that soil. And then use your knee for leverage, because even with one hand you can still move a decent amount of dirt. As you see here, I've laid out some paving stones. I just use the foot rake. Honestly, that's my go-to for most of this. And then this here was stuck underneath there because I was screening. The rake was stuck underneath the construction panel, or like the bird netting you could say, or the whatever you may want to call it, the Tortoise Keeper in 1000. So that there, the rake was pinned underneath there. So I've done most of this with the foot rake and the shovel. Yeah, but these are concrete boarding, 2-inch insulated, I believe it's a polystyrofoam concrete boarding with a cement board outside. So I got these for free. And as you can see, I've tried trimming. I've trimmed off that top tine groove lip on the top because I want everything to sit flat, and I didn't want to deal with poking that into the dirt in the bottom. But I could have done that. I just easily trimmed it off the top. Then I've attempted to do a 45 here, but without cutting the concrete back just a tiny bit, I'm not going to get the 45 edge that I'm hoping to get out of this. I can't wait for this. I'm going to be building. See, it's just not going to quite work out with the idea that I have. Ooh, look at this couple. Just a couple dandies. See, even just this here, this is my idea of a tasty treat. We've been in Canada. My tortoises are so used to eating dried feed. Ooh, I lost it. It's best to get it by the taproot. But I'm still putting that in my pocket, there's no doubt. There's a couple more stashed away in here. Look at that. That is some kind of fine, I would say. But the tortoise will love that. See, the fresh food is it just gets gobbled up. I put plantain in there, it disappears, and I don't have very much of it these days. I'm down to very little for each one daily. And thank goodness for dried mallow springing up in that corner there by the moped, that storage. Mallow pops up there, and that's, thank goodness for that. That'll be coming back, and we'll get these torties off of dried mallow. That's been the majority of their diet this winter. I don't like going to the store-bought options. In the wild, I don't think that they would get such high sugar foods as lettuce, and even if it doesn't contain sugar, it was grown in fertilizer. So they just truly weren't fed things like that in the wild. And I know a decent portion they'd be in either estivation or brumation, and they eat a lot of dried weeds. So I choose not to overfeed my tortoises. They're not starving. There's always more food there, but I think it's kind of like eating mashed potatoes without any dressings, no butters, no gravies, just mashed potatoes. I think that's probably what that's kind of like, or maybe just straight rice, we'll say. But as far as this goes in here, leveling these cinder blocks, getting the grass out, I would get the grass out. I'd shovel with my good leverage, and I just bang this stuff out on here and get that topsoil out, because I want to maintain all of this topsoil. It's just beautiful. These roots and stuff will dry out and break down and can get raked out. I might even run the sieve through here. As you can see, there's a sand content. But look, sand doesn't have a clay. That is called plasticity, according to the compaction testers in my local area here. That is how they refer to it, is plasticity, is how it compacts. So there's obviously a clay content of some kind, or a silt bearing, or topsoil, natural ingredients, and root matter. So I'd like to get as much of this grass out of here. Like I could do a little better raking over there, and getting this down to just more soil for these characters. But a little grass to this extent, if they eat, say if they ate this, there's no harm coming to them from this. It just has no nutritional value. This is like me like eating ice chips. It could cause impaction to them, some say. I've never dealt with it yet. I had a tortoise that has spent a ton of time on grass, and I've never encountered any impaction or anything like that. As you can see here, it's nice to break it down, but this is mostly root matter here. Hopefully that dries out in the coming forth and I can rake that out with a finer rake. But really, as far as tools go for building my outdoor enclosure, I got these cinder blocks off the marketplace. I recycled a lot of them from just friends too. The fencing panel I got from work, you could get that at any of your local excavation companies or chain link fencing companies. Any of those companies have supplied pieces of fence like this. This is very light stuff. I would say it's under 20 pounds, and you can lift it from side to side with much ease, and it's bird proof, right? If not, building one out of wood is of course an option. Using finch wire from your local PV Mart, I find, has the nicest stuff. As always, people, pick up your trash. No one wants the tortoises or the turtles inhaling it. We'll be picking that up, and even these little bits here, I'll be picking those up at the end of this video. And getting things level seems to be a hardy thing. I'll be using some PL400 to bind these together, and then 2 across the top, boom boom, tongue and groove, and maybe a third one in there for total insulation abilities, but nothing that I would call too crazy. I'm going with bare bones and raw materials with this build. I'd love to do a woodwork one day with the right cedar boards and protection. Pines, they say, release tannins, so I think for an outdoor product I would lean towards using cedar, as it doesn't rot in such applications. As always, the gnome, you must have a gnome in my opinion to any good tortoise garden. Locking fences and a fencing with a curb is always a benefit. But this is the episode 3 of the outdoor enclosure build. Thanks for tuning in. Your pal Hops and Scotch, over and out.